12:02. So I'll get us rolling. Again, thank you to everyone for joining Little Helps, a little vacation. We decided as a staff at A Little Help that it might be time to kind of enjoy ourselves and do something fun together. And I know it's been just about a year since COVID has kind of hit us. So we wanted to make sure that we did something that was a little maybe lighthearted and got us that chance to kind of get out and vacation a little bit. So I've got on the call with us today, I'm very excited about is Jill Corbin is going to start us off. She is the Deputy Director for Colorado, a Deputy Director of Programming, correct? For the Colorado Tourism. Then next up will be Jillian Allison, and she is with the Center for Colorado Women's History. She is the director there, which then falls under the History Colorado Museums. And then last is Juliet Weller, and she is, she likes to call herself the Chief Globetrotter, which I just love, but she is the owner of Global Exotic Adventures. So that's going to be our three panelists today, and they've got lots to share, lots of streaming videos that you'll be able to enjoy. So just sit back and, have a bite of your lunch and enjoy. Jill, off to you.
Great. Thanks, Tanya. Can everyone hear me? You get a thumbs up? Okay, great. Just checking. So yeah, as Tanya mentioned, I would like to take you all on a little trip around the state of Colorado via our scenic and historic byways. This is something that we are very proud of at the Colorado Tourism Office, and hopefully you all are as well. And so I'm going to share my screen because we have a great resource for you to visit from the comfort of your homes. This is our scenic and historic byways microsite, which I have to mention we did create in partnership with History Colorado and a grant from the State Historical Fund. So thanks, History Colorado. Thanks, Jillian, for helping us create this wonderful microsite that is available to any and all folks to access and to learn all about our beautiful and historic and wonderful scenic and historic byways across the state. So can everyone see the website there on colorado.com? Great. So as Tanya mentioned, we have a couple videos to share with you all today, and I thought I would kick things off with an overview of all 26 scenic and historic byways. So if you weren't aware, Colorado has the most scenic and historic byways of any state in the country. We're very proud of these routes that take folks on lesser known destinations, as we like to call them, around the state to support our communities all over the state. So this is an overview, and then I will go into a few more byways to highlight in different areas of the state.
The 26 byways of Colorado connect the dots between historic sites and acres of majestic scenery spanning Red Rock Canyons, Rocky Mountain peaks, and sun-kissed prairie lands. In 1988, the U.S. Forest Service announced the National Forest Scenic Byway Program, and our San Juan Skyway was one of the first routes designated. More than simply suggested road trips, these byways are a catalyst for the preservation of Colorado's culture, history, and natural wonder. And there's something for all types of travelers. Our byways cover more than 2,000 miles from corner to corner. All of them meander through a vast array of public lands and connect museums and historic sites across the state. These byways highlight distinct aspects of Colorado's history and dramatic landscapes. You'll see the highest peaks in the Rocky Mountains. Stretch your legs and soak in steamy waters. Or linger at our lakes and rivers for fishing and water sports. And have opportunities to raft or kayak down some of the country's most famous rivers. Hike and bike hundreds of trails. Immerse yourself in history and get a peek at our pioneer past, finding clues left by those who heeded the call to head west. Plan to revisit some of the byways as the seasons change for a whole new experience. Wildlife areas sit along each route as well. You'll travel through multiple life zones of flora and fauna without leaving the byway. And taste all that Colorado has to offer, straight from the orchards and fields. Come experience and be inspired by all the treasured places that make up Colorado's scenic and historic byways. Visit colorado.com/byways to plan your next Colorado adventure.
All right. So hopefully that gets you all a little excited to hopefully travel around the state and take a road trip one day. And then I thought it'd be fun just to kind of go a little bit deeper into some of our byways. And so I thought we could start up in the northwest corner of the state, Dinosaur Diamond. And so you can see here with the map, we have byways that really span a lot of our state. So wanted to kind of highlight the Dinosaur Diamond in northwest Colorado. So you can see if you go to our site that northwestern Colorado's Dinosaur Diamond Byway takes drivers through landscapes that once shook under the footfalls of titans. And so we offer on our website a lot of great traveler information that gives you the starting point, the end point of the byway, the best time of the year, really any time. But we recommend fall, spring, and summer. You can allow about 2 to 3 hours to experience the byway. And here you'll see on the map, you can start in Fruita, a really grand junction, and travel all the way up to Dinosaur. Some trip tips, and then each byway has its own specific video. So I thought it'd be fun to play those as well. So you can start at the Colorado National Monument, travel along. There's lots of great places to check out. See a Brachiosaurus fossil, mountain bike, hike. Great trail systems up there. Head to Fruita, where they love their dinosaurs that ride bikes. Head to the Dinosaur Journey Museum. I know my 2-year-old son would love to go visit that. There's wonderful national monuments, the Canyon Pintado National Historic Site, and then of course the Dinosaur National Monument as well to go and visit. It's a beautiful area of the state. Very unique, I would say. And then if you happen to be on our microsite, you can go ahead and scroll down and see a lot more information about where to head. As the video mentioned, head to Rangeley, Canyon Pintado, Dinosaur, Colorado. There's a Colorado Welcome Center there that can answer any and all information that you have. And then if you're interested, you can scroll through some pictures of the area as well. So we hope that this gets you inspired to possibly take a trip along these byways. So the next one I was going to show you is on the southwest corner of the state, and that is our Trail of the Ancients down here. And so you can just hover on the map and click through and go to each byway's landing page. So Colorado's Trail of the Ancients byways travels through 2 remote national monuments and Mesa Verde National Park. As you drive, you'll pass through wind and water carved sandstone canyons, sagebrush scented mesas, and centuries of American Indian history. And so it gives you some trip tips down here and the map as well. And then we have a great video as well. Starts in Mesa Verde. Wonderful visitor center and museum at Canyons of the Ancients. There are vineyards. And lots of agritourism offerings outside of Cortez. Ute Mountain Tribal Park to go and visit. And there we have Trail of the Ancients for you. Then I thought we could head on over to the southeastern area of the state, over by La Junta and Lamar, and check out the Santa Fe Trail. This is a wonderful byway as well, with loads of history, as you are probably aware. And so we're very proud of the communities along this byway, and all the wonderful experiences and sights to see that you can see along this byway, starting with Bensold Fort. Start through Lamar, Sand Creek Massacre National Historic Site. Head down the road to La Junta and Bensold Fort National Historic Site. Through the Comanche National Grasslands. And head to Trinidad, a small city with a quaint Victorian downtown. And there you have it. And then I thought we should probably head up to the northeast corner of our state and highlight some of the byways up in this area. So we've got the Pawnee Pioneer Trails and the South Platte River Trail. And we can go ahead and check out the Pawnee Pioneer Trails. Northeast Colorado's Pawnee Pioneer Trails Byway leads you through a fascinating prairie landscape. With the expansion of America into the West, explorers and settlers could hardly believe their eyes when looking upon the Great Plains. Starts in Out, I believe that's how you pronounce that, and ends in Sterling. And it takes about 3 hours to travel through. And here is the video. Pawnee National Grassland. It's a beautiful area of our state. It's changed little over the last 2 centuries. You head to Fort Morgan via the small town of Raymer and Highway 52. It's a charming agricultural town where big band leader Glenn Miller is from, if you're familiar with Glenn Miller, or you went to high school there. And then you head to Sterling along the South Platte River. It's the largest town in the corner of the state. And the Old Overland Trail, it's a part of the Oregon Trail that brought miners into the Rockies seeking fortune. All right. And then it was very hard to just whittle the byways down to about 4 or 5 to show you today out of the 26. So I've got one more to show, and then I will hand the presentation over to Jillian. But I wanted to sort of hit all 4 corners and then definitely highlight our wonderful Rocky Mountains as well. And so the Collegiate Peaks runs right down the middle of our state. It could be called the Avenue of 14ers. Along its entire length, the Collegiate Peaks continuously rise above the 14,000-foot mark and includes such summits as Mount Princeton, Mount Yale, and Mount Harvard. In fact, it's the highest concentration of 14,000 plus foot peaks in the United States. So pretty impressive if you have a chance to drive down this byway. It only takes about 2 hours. We'll get things kicked off here. Let's start in Salida, in Buena Vista. There's wonderful wineries, distilleries, and breweries. The Arkansas River Headwaters State Park is there, wonderful rafting and fishing. And then the Collegiate Peaks Overlook, of course, is beautiful. Head to Buena Vista, a wonderful downtown area with the Surf Chateau and their Whitewater Park that's right there. Wonderful Heritage Museum, quaint little town. And then the Vicksburg and Winfield ghost towns if you're into ghosts, which I am not, but if you are, they're lots of fun. All right, and with that, that is just a brief showing of 5 of our 26 byways across the state. So I hope you've enjoyed a look into these very historic routes and have been inspired to potentially get out and take a road trip along these routes. And I definitely encourage you to check out this website a bit more. It's just colorado.com/byways. And you can see all the byways have videos and trip information to hopefully provide a very easy to experience opportunity for you all to get out and see all of these wonderful parts of the state. So with that, I will hand it over to Jillian Allison, the director for the Center for Colorado Women's History and History Colorado Community Museums. And I will stop sharing.
Great,
Take it away, Jillian.
It was fantastic to be able to see so many parts of the state through those videos. I really loved that. So I'm going to be talking about History Colorado, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. There's that for you. So I work for History Colorado, which you may know is the State Historical Society. History Colorado has 2 arms, and one is the State Historic Fund, which Jill mentioned. We work with organizations and people throughout the state to provide funding and support for historic preservation, archaeology, and projects that preserve the history of our great state through the State Historic Fund. And then we also have an arm of museums. And I work for the museum side. History Colorado has museums throughout the state. And so I'm going to take you on a little tour of those museums today with a stop at the Center for Colorado Women's History, where I am today. And there are a number of ways that you can engage with History Colorado online if you are a history buff and want to learn more from home. So History Colorado has a very large YouTube channel with all sorts of videos, including many of our past programs. So if you're interested in the lectures that we offer that cover all sorts of topics from women's history to food to the borderlands of Southern Colorado, there are all sorts of videos that you can watch on our YouTube channel. And I believe that Tanya will be sharing these links later. But it's just amazing all of the things that you can learn about there. We also have a number of virtual events that are happening, programs that are coming up, talks with our curators for different exhibits that are happening at our museums, and you can find those at our website as well. And we do have a number of in-person events that are happening in a socially distanced way, along with guidelines too. So we're even having high tea at the Grand Humphreys Mansion coming up. You can also read our Colorado Magazine online, which covers all sorts of topics in history and sort of goes into more detail on topics. You can read old issues. You can also see shorter posts that are available. And so that's a great resource if you like to read articles and see great photos and images as well. We also have a podcast called Lost Highways that really showcases unique stories in Colorado history. And the name is really, really great for that one too, because I found when I'm driving through Colorado, it's great to listen to these stories. And there's a number of different ways you can listen, whether you are familiar with podcasts and can listen on your phone, or if you want to listen directly online, there's all sorts of different ways to access those. And we'll be sharing those links so you can check those out. We have a number of museums throughout the state, as I mentioned, so you can see all of these names that are in black are our museums throughout the state. We also own the Georgetown Loop Railroad, and that is one of the most popular places with the Santa train and things like that. So that's always a fun one. The Fort Vasquez Museum is located right in the middle of a highway in Platteville, and it focuses on trade history and early history in northern Colorado. We also have, oops, I don't want to hit the wrong button, the Grand Humphreys Mansion in Denver, which is a beautiful home that we use primarily for weddings and rentals. That's where I mentioned we were doing the teas. Right now, the house is so big that each party has their own section of the house where they have their own tea. It's also used regularly for video shoots and things like that. So you'll see it in Dateline, or it even was on The Bachelor. We also have the History Colorado Center, which is located in Denver, which is our largest museum. It has a number of exhibits. Our latest, which just opened the past couple of weeks, are aprons, which tell stories of family members and people who are recollecting on the work that people do, connecting through aprons, but really sort of that service and care that people take in lives. And it's a really beautiful photography-based exhibit. We also have an exhibit on the borderlands of Southern Colorado, which delves into the impacts of the border of Mexico and Colorado, or excuse me, Mexico and the United States, and the period at which it changed. It was located near Pueblo, and then in 1848 moved to its current location, and the impacts that's had on communities in Colorado and the legacy that has. And that exhibit is recently opened at the History Colorado Center, And we also have exhibits in Pueblo and Trinidad that touch on this topic as well. And then I am at the Colorado Women's History, which is located in the historic Byers Evans home. In the background of this photo, you'll see the Denver Art Museum. So we're located right next to the Denver Art Museum. We have the Healy House and Dexter Cabin in Leadville. Leadville is such an incredible community located at about 10,000 feet. So it's really a unique environment. And this little cabin is really a surprise. It seems like, you know, the small little hunter's cabin, but it was actually used by Dexter, who had a number of these cabins at each of his work sites, his mine sites. He was a very wealthy man, and it is beautiful inside. It has just these amazing features. So that was moved to this site, and there's also a large home that was used as a boarding house. And so the tours there include both of these sites, along with this beautiful garden as well. The El Pueblo History Museum is located right in downtown Pueblo. And so it's in the heart of all of the events that happen in Pueblo, like the Chili Festival and the things that happen downtown. So there's beautiful events, a quilt show that happens in the summer. They have a lot of activities, and it's one of our busiest sites. We do a lot of children's programs there as well. It's a really active site, and they also have the exhibit focused on the borderlands. They have an exhibit on the Ludlow Massacre and other changing programs and exhibits. The Fort Garland Museum and Cultural Center is located in the San Luis Valley, which has to be one of the most beautiful places. It's a large fort with parade grounds, many different buildings, and really is a special site with those mountains in the background. They also do festivals and programs. They have some reenactment weekends. They also have a Fiber Fest because ranching in the area was so influential on the culture, and has an amazing bookstore as well. The Ute Indian Museum is located in Montrose, Colorado. It recently went through an expansion, and so it has a beautiful new building and new exhibits, but also is located on about 8 acres of land in this area. So it's a great place if you want to spend a beautiful day outside. There are more plans for naturescapes and outdoor classrooms. So it can really become an indoor-outdoor facility. And there is an exhibit there that is was developed with the Ute tribes, and there's also a Ute Indian exhibit at the History Colorado Center. So if you aren't able to make it to Montrose, it's a similar exhibit with different artifacts. So it gives you an opportunity to learn some of the same history and see different artifacts. So you can experience both and really see a variety of things as well. They also have a fantastic gift shop. And we have the Trinidad History Museum. This is just one of the 3 buildings that's located at the Trinidad History Museum, which is a full city block. This is the Bloom Mansion. There's also the Baca House and the Bargalow, the Santa Fe Trail Museum. So there is a lot of history to be explored there. And the city of Trinidad is a historic treasure as well. It has the brick streets with the Trinidad stamp, and you can see here the trolley stops right by the museum as well. So if you're on your way to Santa Fe or New Mexico, I highly recommend a stop in Trinidad at the museum. So as I mentioned, I'm at the Center for Colorado Women's History, which is located in Denver at 13th and Bannock next to the Denver Art Museum. So So the museum is a historic home. About 90% of the artifacts that are in the home belong to the Evans family, who lived here for 92 years. And there were a number of influential women who lived in the house. So we explore their stories and how they connect to larger Colorado history here. So for example, in this room, this is a very formal parlor from the Victorian era. We talk about how that contrasts with the more modern era, where the daughters who grew up in the house, what they might have experienced in their lives. In 2018, we launched as the Center for Colorado Women's History, which gave us a new expanded focus, and we have exhibits on women's history, programs, talks, and new research. Currently, we're showcasing an exhibit and programs on the Women's Vote Centennial. And in 2020 marked the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which made sure that states were no longer able to prevent women from voting just strictly based on their gender. And in Colorado, we have a very special story related to that topic, because women in Colorado could vote 27 years before that. And so we have an exhibit that explores how that became possible, some of the women who were involved in that process, and how they were able to influence the rest of the nation as voting rights expanded across. You can see in the West, in that painting of the country, most of the West was the first states where women could vote. So we have a unique story that we explore here, and that exhibit will be up for the rest of the year. We are currently open on a very limited basis. Right now, we only offer 4 tickets for each of our tour times. And so it's typically a private tour of the home, and then the opportunity to see the exhibit as well. So it is very limited, and we are doing that on Fridays and Saturdays. And we also are offering some of our programs online as well. So today we're doing our first virtual field trip. Unfortunately, we're not able to do our teas right now, but we will be offering our online lectures. We have a great book club that people participate in online every other month. We read a different book and discuss it that relates to history. And those are some of the topics that we are exploring, and the way that you can learn about Colorado from home or in person at our museums right now. And with that, I will turn it over to Juliet Weller with Global Exotic Adventures.
Thank you, Jillian. And let me say, before I even begin, you and Jill have me ready to go. Both of your presentations were so informative for me. I can see I will use you both, or at least your organizations, as resources in the future. So everyone, lovely to be here. My name is Juliet Weller. I own a company called Global Exotic Adventures. I'm here in Fort Collins. I am a travel advisor. You may also hear the term throughout the industry. We are called travel designers, travel consultants, travel planners. And that's because we're no longer travel agents. With the advent of the internet, travel agents kind of went away. A travel agent was the person you went to book your airfare, because there was no other way to do it. And the internet changed that. And travel agents had to figure out a new way to make a living, and they became travel advisors. So I am now a 21st century agent. I am an advisor. And so what I do is I am an expert at creating, I design a vacation for my clients. They want something immersive when they travel. They don't just want to book a hotel room online and catch a plane. Some do, and that's fine. But for the person who wants an experience from their vacation, I work with them to plan and curate and design that itinerary for them. Because an amazing vacation doesn't just happen. It actually requires professional expertise. And I can do that for them and take away the stress, because if you ever tried to plan a vacation, you've had to coordinate schedules and read reviews and 20 website pages open on your computer and you're crazy in a few minutes and you don't want to do it. And so that's why I exist. I exist to do that for folks. And the reason I'm telling you all this is many people don't even know that this is a professional service that exists. And so although our travel options are very limited right now, I know, because I feel it, we feel the pull to still want to go see new places or to see the old places that we like. And we want to have new experiences and we can't. So I thought I would give you 15 ideas for turning any old day into making it feel as close to a vacation as you possibly can. So I'm going to share my screen and make it look pretty. And I call this 15 ways to turn an ordinary day into an extraordinary one. You've probably done some of these already yourselves. You're not without ideas, but I do know that after a year, we've run out of ideas. So let's dive in. Going to the zoo is not something I ever thought I would enjoy. People generally think of taking the kids to the zoo or the grandkids to the zoo. The zoo is open, the Denver Zoo, and I think that it's more fun than most grown-ups expect. So if you haven't been to the zoo lately, take a trip. They do, like everywhere else, have limitations on hours and numbers of people and what you can do, wear masks, they may not have food for sale. Check into all that before you go, but go to the zoo. It's quite the experience and a lot of fun, and you get out of the house. Number 14 on my list, and isn't this just perfect? Visit all the museums where you live. Yes, I know a lot of people don't want to go because they don't want to see Monet, but museums are not just about Monet. And so if you make a point of visiting all the museums you have access to, you're going to run into something you want to see, something you enjoy. And I am not a big museum. I didn't used to be a big museum person, but now there's so much to see, and we just saw how much there is to see even in Colorado. So within your town or city, start there, pick them, and when you exhaust those, move into the county, and when you've done every museum in your county, go to the next county and the next one and the next one, and by the time you've done all the museums, surely we'll be out of this pandemic and you can travel. And when all the museums are done, my goodness, the historical locations, Jill's Byways and Jillian's Historical Society presentation just now, I feel like, wow, I had no idea. I have not lived in Colorado all my life, but I know many of you have. So I'm pretty sure you haven't been to all the historical locations. I'm ready to go. Take lots of pictures because you have to record this. This is fascinating. If you're from another state, explore Colorado. And if there's a corner of the state you haven't been to yet, now's your chance. If you don't want to go quite that far, but you know there's a city you haven't explored, do that. When was the last time you spent a weekend in Denver? And if it's not Denver, that's okay. Pick a city you're not that familiar with, walk around the streets, spend the whole weekend, spend 3 days, explore it, taste their food, see their historical sites, check out their museums. Now is when we have the time, and now is when we are longing to be out of the living room and not in front of the TV or in front of a Zoom. Fortunately for you, Zoom is where you get the education. And so we're here to tell you, get out of the house, go see the state, go see the museums, go see the historical sites. There's a lot out there, as we just saw. Next on my agenda, how about learning a new skill or master one you're already good at? Remember back when the pandemic was kind of new, people were into baking bread. Chances are they were the people who never baked anything ever. If bread is not your jam, see what I did there? If bread is not what you want to bake, take up something new you've not tried, a new sport, a new habit. Maybe even if you go for a walk every morning, what if you try a new route? Or you go for a longer walk? Make whatever it is you're doing something new. Commit to learning chess like you always wanted to. You could dust off the exercise videos or DVDs that still have the cellophane on them, dust them off, try them out. You could learn Mandarin or Polish or Swahili, something you've never tried. Have you completed that online class in trading options yet? There's something you've always wanted to do and you haven't done it. Now, a formal class may not be available, but as I have learned, the University of YouTube can teach you whatever you want. Maybe you could learn something and you become the expert on YouTube. If there's a skill you're already proficient at, maybe you become the tutor on YouTube. Try that. Number 10, find a local nonprofit or a volunteer agency that needs help. This one, I think, I like a lot. When you go on a vacation, you run into a whole lot of new people. If you're by the pool, you start chatting to the person next to you. If you're on the tour bus, if you're on the airplane. If you get out and find some people who need help or who are working towards a common goal, you'll be establishing some new relationships. And even with social distancing, it's a great way to make those connections. And now you have some new people in your life and you'll feel good about yourself, because I know and you know that helping other people is the best way to let go of feeling sorry for ourselves that we're stuck in the house. And we'll be grateful that we are still healthy and still able to get around and still able to help. Now, I threw War and Peace in there as number 9. You know why? Because I haven't read it either. Have you? It's probably not what I'm going to do with my time during the pandemic, but I know somebody in this last year pulled out War and Peace and decided to read it. Number 8, order a meal from a restaurant you've never been to. And in Fort Collins, that's probably highly likely. Now, I know that various types of cuisines are represented by more than one restaurant. Don't go to your favorite one next time, try one of the others. Try a restaurant you've never been to, never ordered from. I think it's just a way, just like when you're on vacation, to try something new. The cuisine of the local town you're in, or city, or country. When you travel, you have to eat new food. Here's a chance to do it right here in your own town. And now that they deliver, how hard can that be, right? Eat ice cream from a cone. So in my house, I'm not a big ice cream eater. It's a flaw I have, I know. But the folks here eat ice cream from a dish because we're at home. But isn't it always fun when you do eat ice cream out? You go to the ice cream parlor, you get a cone. It just makes it fun and something you probably haven't done in a while. And if you don't have if there's no ice cream parlor open now, and I don't know if they are since I'm not the ice cream chick, go to the store and get everything for an ice cream cone. Buy the cones, buy 2 or 3 different kinds of ice cream and all the stuff you want on it, and make your ice cream cone an event, an experience. A friend of mine would have her kids, they were allowed to have ice cream for dinner twice in their summer. So I'm not saying have ice cream for dinner every night. I'm saying enjoy your ice cream cone once in a while. Maybe that's dinner, and what a treat that would be. Number 6, change the surroundings you usually dine in, which for most of us is at home. What can you do? You can turn off the lights and use candles instead. You can put on some dinner music. You can dress up for dinner like you would if you were on a trip. If you're on a cruise, you'd be out dressed up. What if you use the good china and the good silverware? Make it an event. You could have a picnic instead of just eating at home. Okay, so maybe not today, maybe not even this month, but very soon a picnic might be in order for dinner. And that would make the dinner experience more like a trip, more like a vacation, and less like just eating at home, grabbing the bag from the guy who delivered it and sitting on the couch. If you did that, turn off the lights, light a candle, spruce up the dinner environment. And if you haven't dined out yet, do it. I think, I know here in my household, we've gotten so used to not going out anymore that the idea of going out is like, wow, check this out. How novel is this? So we've enjoyed the few times we've been out. And yes, it's up to everyone's own comfort level. So do what keeps you comfy. But if you get the courage to dine out, do it. Number 4, go to the place that lets you catch the sunrise or the sunset, or both if you can. Here in Colorado, sunrise and sunset, we get beautiful ones of each every day. I have lived in places where sunset is not something you see. It happens, but there's either cityscape, too many trees, neighbors' houses are too close. Generally, here in Fort Collins and Northern Colorado, we get to see at least one or the other. If there's one you don't see regularly, go catch that one. If you are on vacation on a cruise, if you're at the beach, it's a big deal in Key West for everyone to gather to see sunset. Morning people regularly catch a sunrise, but maybe at dinner time, sunset happens without them. If you can catch both and it's not something you do regularly, make a point of doing that. Maybe every Tuesday is the day you catch both. If you don't do these things consciously with awareness, you'll miss them. So catch a sunrise and a sunset, even if it's one day a week. Pretend you're on vacation in Tahiti. Here's my favorite. Number 3, treat yourself to some plush new bedding. Why? When you go to a hotel on your vacation, chances are the bed is not like the one at home. It's got big old fluffy pillows, some real nice comforters. Comforters are always really nice. So if you can spring for new bedding, do it. And if you can't, I bet there's a set of sheets in the bottom of your linen closet that you haven't used in years. Pull it out, freshen it up in the dryer, make it smell good, put it on the bed. Maybe you even have to pull the pillows off the sofa because you don't have enough on your bed. Do whatever it takes to make that bed the special place for that day or that week or forever. Fluff up the bed, make the bedroom smell nice, climb in, read a book, watch TV, do your crossword puzzles, snuggle with the dog or whomever, and make the bed a hotel experience. Because the hotel experience is a big part of our vacation experience. And a yucky hotel is not something I do for people. So do for yourself a wonderful bed experience right there at home. Number 2 is a website called Window Swap. Window Swap. And you'll be able to get the website when Tanya sends this out. And I'm going to show you what's on Window Swap. If you're tired of looking out of your own window, how about look at someone else's? There's a website where folks set up a webcam, phone camera, and they let you see what's outside their window. Let's see. So you get to pick. Doesn't look like you can see this yet. So someone let me know if you can see this, because I'm seeing that you can't, but I don't know why.
No, we cannot yet, Juliet.
Okay, I'm gonna try again. La la la, Window Swap. Here we go. So Window Swap, folks have set up their cameras all over the world. This would not be the most fascinating window. It's just an example of someone's window, but you can see it's live, the curtain is swaying, and when you don't like the window you're looking at, you change it. An idyllic backyard. With your sound up, you will hear wind chimes, you will hear birds chirping. Maybe the doves on the grass are not your idea of what you want to see, you change it. I have seen backyards in India, tropical backyard. Okay, see, we're striking out today. We're getting industrial sites. I have seen some of the most beautiful scenes. Rain, what the heck? I'm gonna go to find the one I like because I'm in charge. not bad. Trees are swaying. It's not the most romantic or lovely scene, but isn't it funny that there's even such a website that lets you see, and this is in Russia, in the top corner, it says this is Oskol, Russia. And to me, that's the fascinating part. It almost doesn't matter what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at Russia. And if I want to stop looking at my own window, because everything's white, as beautiful as that may be, I am now looking through someone's window in Russia. Let's see where else we can go. It says unknown, which doesn't help, but they have a wonderful sky view. Mumbai, India. What do we have? It's raining here too, but we have plants. We have the sound of rain. So you get to pick what you want to see any time of day or night, because this is up 24 hours a day and you're all over the world. Change it as frequently as you wish, or just let it run all day. We're in Portugal. Sometimes you're looking at whatever, it's going to be whatever the person has outside their window. It may not fascinate us, but for the fact that all of a sudden I'm in Portugal, I'm not going to complain. It's traffic, I can get that anywhere, but it's Portugal. And I find that if you can do this, sometimes I leave it open while I'm working so I can hear who knows what. Sometimes there's conversation. St. Petersburg, Russia. So you just search till you find something that makes you feel like you're somewhere else. If you want tropical, if you want surf, do you want just to see something quiet and peaceful, you get to pick what you want to see on Window Swap. Maybe you set up your own and start streaming your own window. Maybe I'll run into your camera one day while I do this. My number one tip is a website called explore.org. So it seems the best way to do that is to stop sharing and start again. And I'm gonna get you, not Window Swap, but let's go there. I'm gonna close that. So explore.org streams live cams from all over the world. Here we go. And you get to pick. I love the pandas. So right now what came up for me when I opened was pipeline surfing. These are live cams all over the world. Penguin Beach in Long Beach, California. So we get to watch the penguins. Looks to me like the penguins aren't going to move around very much. But as you can see at the top of the page, I hope you can see, you can go wherever you want to find, here are the pandas. And who doesn't love the pandas? They're little roly-poly babies, and they're up to their antics. And you can leave this on as long as you wish. And again, these are all over the world. You can go watch the Aurora Borealis. You can see boats in Sydney Harbor. You can watch animals. The other day I was with some gorillas. Okay, that one's out of commission, it says. But that, oh, look at, okay, it's nap time for gorillas. Apparently everybody has recently fed themselves, both the penguins and the gorillas. But you get the idea. Find what you'd like to look at. Birds. I was also on a website with eagles the other day. Sometimes, okay, so that's the nest in the middle of the screen, the pole, the nest is on top, and there may not be any action right now, but if you hang around long enough, there will be. Let's see what's on their featured, African wildlife. Tembe Elephant Park. I'm gonna turn down the crickets for a minute. And of course, if you're watching wildlife, you may have to wait for them to come around. The nighttime ones like this are really fascinating. Usually the animals know their attention is caught by the camera because there's usually a flashing light or a something that lets the hum maybe that lets them know there's something there. So they want to see what it is. and they come right up to the camera and their face is in your face. So, Hawaii is always good for fun. I think it's gray in Hawaii today. We're back to pipeline surfing. Little gray, still, you don't get a coconut tree in Colorado. So I'm from the tropics, and I find the tropical scenes hard to resist. And you get to pick the one you want. So let me go back to my presentation. And we can wrap up. Oh, I didn't need to do that. One thing I did want to tell you, and it's my bonus tip for you. Here is my bonus tip. I'm back at the beginning, so let's run through your bonus tip. I'm going to mute the surf. Tanya, is the surf in the way of my
Yep,
sound?
yep, that's all we're seeing.
Say again?
Yep, that's all we're seeing is the pipeline.
A
surf.
surf? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I do love these two websites, Juliet. These are great.
And I will send you these web addresses so that you can send them out to folks.
Super. I will do that. So after we are recording all of this, and I will send a follow-up email to everyone with all of these links, so everyone can look at them. The window swap was extremely fascinating. I've never seen anything like that before.
And sometimes it's just stuff you don't want to see.
Yeah, that was
Well,
an
that's-
interesting one.
That's why you get to pick. My bonus tip for everyone. So I promised you 15, I'm going to give you 16. Call a travel advisor and start planning your trip for 2021. People are traveling, and it's up to your own comfort level. My biggest advice when it comes to this, find an advisor you want to work with. So I could shamelessly plug myself all day, but it's really important now that you find an advisor you want to work with. So I'm saving my best tip for the last. A travel advisor's expertise will elevate your trip in unexpected ways, not to mention protect your investment. And your investment is your money and your time. It doesn't have to be me. Work with the person that makes you feel comfortable and that you feel understands what your vacation dream is. But although we are trapped at home, yes, I know we can go out. I know it's not a literal thing, but we can't travel like we used to or like we want to. My message to you is we don't have to be bored. We don't have to be ill at ease. We don't have to be stagnant. We don't have to be uninspired. We don't have to be over-zoomed. We can take advantage of the lull we've been given in many ways. And so your calendar for the next year is probably quite blank. And I can help you with that if you're ready and willing to travel. And we can decipher what your comfort level for that is. But my job is to inspire you wherever you are in that until I can inspire you to be where you want to be. Essentially, that's it from me. Thanks for your time. It was a pleasure to share these ideas with you for bringing something different into your everyday.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate everyone being on today. The two websites you shared, Juliet, were phenomenal. I've lived in Colorado for 20 years, and I'm really embarrassed to say that Jill and Jillian gave me a lot that I just did not know about with Colorado. So I'm excited to now get on those websites and learn all that, but really embarrassed that I've lived here for 20 years and have seen hardly any of those things. Again, thank you so very much. We are right at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. This is recorded. I will be sending this out to everyone. I'll be sending all the links out to everyone as well. I really appreciate you guys tuning in for A Little Helps Vacationing. By all means, send me emails if you have other questions, and I will certainly feed those around to Jill, Juliet, Jillian. I just realized we were all J's with our panel as I was saying that. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone, and being a part of our A Little Help community. It really means a lot to us. Thanks